Hey,
Hey everybody! We are getting ready for our Iowa meal. We've got our little helpers here to shuck some fresh corn.
yeah, Iowa, as you can tell, is the corn capital of the U.S., probably the world as well. And so we are getting our fresh sweet corn shucked to get ready to cook that.
Yep.
We are,
I was just going to say, if you have a farmer's market near you, try and go there and check them out for some corn. They usually have the best rather than going to a grocery store.
yeah, and make sure you get the ones that you have to shuck. It is a little bit more work, but it's definitely worth it because the corn will usually be a lot fresher and better tasting than the corn that you buy prepackaged and already shucked. So, and then we'll also be making loose meat sandwiches, so that'll be interesting. I'm not sure how those will taste, but I guess it's an Iowa tradition. And then later in the week, we will be getting some Iowa dry cured bacon. That's said to be the best bacon in the U.S., so we're excited about that as well.
I'll show you that when it comes.
Yep.
Look at that. Beautiful.
Well, enjoy the video.
If you are using fresh corn like we did that you've shucked yourself, you definitely want to make sure to wash it. This is just a little corn brush that helps to get all those little white hairs off of it, and that just makes it more pleasant when it's time to eat it.
All right, let's go ahead and get started on our loose meat sandwiches. Okay, so here I am adding our 1 pound of ground beef. Now I doubled the recipe because we had company, but I'm going to actually tell you the amounts for a single recipe. So it'll look a little bit different when you make it, but that's nothing too crazy. So yeah, you're just going to put your ground beef in. You're going to start crumbling it up. And then once you have it kind of spread out pretty evenly, you will go ahead and add your 1/4 cup of water, your 1 tablespoon of yellow mustard, and your teaspoon of sugar, and then you're going to simmer that on medium heat until your beef is cooked through, which will take about 5 minutes, and maybe a little bit longer. I mean, you'll be able to tell because the meat will turn brown, and it'll again look pretty nice and consistent throughout. So yeah, it's just cooking ground beef, really. You've got a few extra ingredients in there, but it's not going to make that much of a difference as far as how your beef cooks. So, if you're used to cooking ground beef, great, you know what you're doing. If you're not that used to cooking ground beef, all you're looking is a consistent brown. So, you'll be able to see that here in just a minute as we get to that point. All right, so the loose meat sandwich is also known as a tavern sandwich. It is rumored that it was actually invented in Montana in around the year 1920. Um, Although some people say it was invented in Iowa City, or Sioux City, sorry, Sioux City, Iowa in 1924 by a man named Dave Higgin. So, take your pick. It's neither here nor there. And there you can see we added the sugar and the lemon juice to our um, corn water, and we're throwing the corn in there. And then we will just turn the heat off and let that cook. So that's a really cool, easy way to cook corn. And that's pretty much it on the corn. It's just going to sit there for 10 minutes and it'll be done. And our loose meat sandwiches should be done around the same time. So that's really nice. This was a very, very simple recipe. So that's the thing with the loose meat sandwich. There you can see we added our 1/4 cup of water. Um, yeah, the loose meat sandwich is really popular, especially in Iowa, but anywhere surrounding that region, you may be able to find them. You can find them in Kansas. You could find them in Illinois, probably in little mom and pop diners. There's our mustard going in. And really, it is a lot like a hamburger that's just not formed into a patty. And it falls off the bun, and the bun gets kind of absorbs a lot of that the beef kind of drippings or the beef grease, and kind of turns into like a gloopy mess. But it was really good. I really liked it. It does taste a lot like a hamburger, and you're going to have similar toppings as a hamburger, but because the meat is not formed into a patty, the flavors of your condiments are going to penetrate a lot more into your beef, and you're also getting a lot more of your seasonings on your beef because there's just more surface area. So here you can see we're starting to get more of that brown coloring. Yeah, and again, it's very simple. It's easier even than cooking hamburgers, which is not hard by any stretch, but it is easier than that. So that's one appeal. And I actually really like the flavor. I'm not sure you could get this flavor with a standard hamburger, but I don't know if it would be as strong. So I like that aspect of it. Deborah was not as much of a fan, as you'll see in our end video, but she did like it. She did not say that it was bad, and it is different, you know, having the bottom of your bun kind of get soggy, and that is something that some people might find off-putting, but I didn't mind it. It does say to expect that and to look out for it, so you know I was ready for it, and especially what we ended up doing, which was kind of funny. We just picked up the bun and flipped it over and then ate it that way because the soggy bottom bun won't really hold together very well. But if you flip it over, the top bun is a little bit thicker and won't have all that juice soaked in. And so, yeah, it held up pretty well. And then you'll just have a bunch of meat left there on the plate, and you kind of use a fork or a spoon to scoop that up and eat that. Yeah, so that is loose meat or tavern sandwiches. And there is our half cup of finely chopped onions in. You can at this point, before you add the onions, you can drain out the fat if you prefer. You won't have your soggy bottom bun that way, and you'll have less fat in your recipe, and that will not be traditional, but if that is your preference, you can go ahead and do that. Okay, so there is our onion and salt and pepper, and then we're going to go ahead and we're adding it to our buns, and then we're going to go ahead and add our condiments. So pickles, onions, and mustard is traditional, but I think that might be what we did, and maybe mayonnaise on one. So we'll see here in a second. So there's our mustard, just plain yellow mustard. Yep, we're going to put some mayonnaise on one, some ketchup on the other, and that's it. They're all done. There you go.
Hey!
Hi!
So we had the Iowa meal, and we want to tell you a little bit about our thoughts on it.
Yeah.
So the loose meat sandwiches, to be honest, we definitely were not sure. We thought they sounded a little bit like Sloppy Joe's, and neither of us are fans of Sloppy Joe's. So we were a little bit like, this is going to be not so great. But actually, it ended up being really good. They were like a little bit messier hamburgers. They tasted very similar to hamburgers. You put on the same toppings. But, you know.
Personally, I'd rather just have a hamburger. But I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
It wasn't my favorite thing.
So, yeah. And then we had corn on the cob because Iowa is the #1 corn producer in the United States.
So the way that we made the corn, I think was a really good way to make it. It's similar to, the beginning part is similar to how we've made it in the past. But with this technique, it's, you bring the water to the boil, and then you put the corn in, and then you, I think, bring it back to a boil, and then you just take it off the heat. And and just leave it for 10 minutes. So the way we did it before, it's pretty easy to make corn on the cob. There's a lot of different ways that you can make it, but this was a nice and a pretty easy hands-off way to make it. So, and it turned out good. We liked it a lot. It was some good corn.
Yeah,
and then we had the world's or the America's best bacon?
It was voted America's best bacon. And it was pretty good.
Yeah.
We definitely liked it. We definitely enjoyed it. I don't know if I would get it again. I don't know if it was that much better than like just what you'd normally get at the grocery store.
Just cost-wise, yeah. It was.
Well, and just the hassle of having to get some kind of specialty bacon shipped to you. So.
But if you live in Iowa and you have ready access to it, it was definitely very good. It was, and we made it in the oven baked, and also on the stove top, like in a skillet, and tried it, and both were good.
Yeah.
So
that was good.
Yeah.
All
It
right.
was a pretty easy meal.
Yeah, it was definitely our easiest meal
yeah.
yet, for sure.
Next up,
We've got Missouri coming up.
Missouri.
Yeah.
We're gonna make some the smoked
Barbecue burn-ins.
burn-ins.
We've got a gooey butter cake
Oh,
for
yeah?
dessert, and
Sounds
toasted
good.
ravioli. So some
Yeah.
St. Louis and some Kansas City thrown in there.
That'll be really yummy.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. So.
All right, so make sure keep checking back to our website, to our YouTube channel. We appreciate your feedback. Also, we're on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and what else? Everything.
Yeah.
Most of the things are covered. So if you are on any of those social medias, come check us out. Our World Table. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.